Coming along?
Oh yeah!
Man, I got some headers for this thing. Headers for X-frame cars are actually kind of difficult to get. There's only a couple of them to choose from, like stupid expensive and kind of expensive. I mean, these ones aren't bad. These are Hedman headers. They come in some like black coating, 300 bucks for these headers. Now you can get them ceramic coated, like 600 bucks. I'm like, that's a little out of the budget. So I got the ones that are just black coated. And it comes with this big old warning that says, the coating on here will burn off in seconds of running the engine. Do not leave this coating on. Well, thanks for putting it on there, Hedman. So you need to strip it all off. You can't just paint over it, is what they claim. So you gotta strip it all off, and then you gotta coat it with something. So since I'm such a high-end type of dude, that's what I'm gonna use. Simple, easy. Go. Yeah. I mean, they look better than the black that was on there. Cool with that. Hopefully they last. Shut that down. So another thing I got going on tonight, Super B. She's gonna get the first round of primer. You can see we got a lot of body work done on this thing. So I'm gonna mix up some primer and get this sucker shot. So on this classic car work, I use a polyester primer for the first round. It's a pretty high build primer. There's no shrinkage. Yeah, I like the way it builds up. You got to spray it out of a pretty serious tip. This is the gun that I use to spray it. The Max Air. It's a cheap gun because you just basically throw them in the trash when you're done. That's what it is. This stuff sprays on pink. You got to really mix this stuff up. Whole car, I use a whole gallon on a full restoration like that. So I ain't gonna worry about ounces and stuff. That's a 4-to-1 mix. So I'm gonna put half of it in one bucket, half in the other bucket. And this is the hardener. There it is. I'm gonna burn through this whole gallon. I'll bring you guys back and show you what it looks like when there's a whole gallon on there. You kind of pick out a little bit in the light. See a little bit of the body work still kind of haloing through the first coat. It'll all be uniform by the time all the coats are on there. So I'll run through this gallon and I'll bring you guys back. So that's what a full gallon looks like on there. Oh, that's what a full gallon looks like on there. It really clouds up the shop, so I do this after hours, which kind of sucks because after hours is also the only time I got to work on my car, so I gotta do that with the mask on. Let me cut the video for 1 second. Me sitting there working on my car, mask on, shop full of fumes. Seemed like an all right idea at the time. I mean, not a great idea, but usually my upper level ideas are just all right ideas. So it's pretty normal. But man, it got pretty serious. I don't know if something's wrong with my mask or what was going on, but I'm sitting there working. I put my headers on, you see me paint. I bent a fuel line to go up to the carb. I was probably working for maybe half hour or so, and I started getting this really sour taste in my mouth. And that should have been my first sign. But I kept working because, you know, guy's got to see his headers on his motor. So, and then I sat down on the ground to wrangle those headers up there, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can get back up. Started getting really lightheaded. Started getting really confused in the shop. Pulled the mask off because I thought, well, maybe I'm just not breathing in the mask. Pulled the mask off. That didn't help anything. And by the time I got to the door, I couldn't even figure out how to work the door handle very well. So it's not a smart idea. Don't do that. Got outside. Had to sit in my truck for a while and just kind of gather myself. But kids, don't sit in a shop with fumes. Get out. It doesn't matter how bad you want to see your headers on your motor. They do look sweet though. I will say that. But wasn't the right time. Should have just waited. You know, you don't notice it so much when you're inside a paint booth or inside of a room painting and you got your mask on and then you go outside. You know, you're never sticking around in the room for that long. Because total, I was probably in there for an hour and a half. You know, mixing up the paint, spraying the first coat, spraying the second coat, working on the car. That's a long time to be. Even though that shop is, you know, that area I was in is 4,000 square foot. It was enough to really cloud up the whole place. So don't do that. All right, let's get back to it.
And I've been cheating on my girl for no reason. All for the king.
Just a man trying to make progress on his foe. Okay, guys? Really trying here. This is a step that I dislike. It's trying to get all the little fine detail stuff worked out. So, got a 700 R4 trans. I guess you got to have a lockup switch installed on one of these if you don't have the computer to run it. I'm not a mechanic, but this is just what I'm reading. So the switch is this little pressure switch. See? And it's supposed to install on this port. It's right here. It's right nowhere. Got no port. So I guess I got one of the rare transmissions that doesn't have the port, which is just how it goes. It seems like. So my only other option on this freshly rebuilt tranny is to completely drop the pan and do some sort of wizardry in there. So that's all I'm gonna do. with the pan off. You can kind of see what I got going on here. So there's people out there that got better videos than me, but this is the switch here that you got to swap out. From what I've seen online, I guess you're not using this brown wire anymore. You're not using this switch anymore. These two black wires are going to run over and plug into this switch. So none of this wiring is needed. So I got to get this thing out of the way, change this out, wired in, bam, boom.
Oh yeah, it's like production. It's automated.
Hello. Hi. Laying underneath my car. Yeah. Is it? Supposedly.